What's up, people? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Desmond Z, if this is the first time you've ever seen me. So, today we will be playing a game. Let's have some fun. This beat is sick. I want to take a ride on it. Let's play a love game, Today in this video, we will be playing a game of sorts. This or that. You can get with this or you can get with that. It's real simple, okay? But of course, it's book edition. It's book edition because look where you are. But if you are new here, this is what we do around here. We talk about books, okay? So over the last couple of days, last week or so, I guess you can say, I've been reading authors for this is like my second time around with them. I'm always talking about spinning the block. Like, I don't know why I always do that voice with that phrase. I don't know. The game of this or that is, do I prefer this one or do I prefer that one? Which one is better? Is it this one or is it that one? Which one did they really do a big one with? His Only Wife. I read this book earlier this year. I think it was earlier this year I read this book. And I gave this book 4 stars. I want to say I gave this book 4 stars. It's about a woman named Afi. She is a young seamstress in Ghana, and her family basically makes her marry this man who was already with another woman, but his family didn't approve of his girlfriend, so they made him break up with her and marry this woman named Afi. And Afi basically lives this life of loneliness because her man don't want her. Her man don't want her. He didn't want her to begin with. And she knew that, he knew that, the family knew that, the world knew that, but they still made these people get together. It was a mix of drama and a bit of comedy. I won't say comedy, but I found humor in some of the situations where I laughed, but that's just me. And I thought overall it was a really good story. At first it started off kind of like I say that about a lot of books, but this one really did. I was like, oh, I'm not really sure what we're doing here. But in the end, I was actually really happy that I read this book and I gave it 4 stars. So, when the author released her new book titled NightBloom, of course, I had to spin the block. I had to come back around and see what she was talking about in this one. I had to see what she was up to, what the pen was doing. NightBloom is about 2 girls up in Ghana. Young girls in Ghana, they were more than just cousins, they were inseparable. Selassie was exuberant and funny, Akofa was quiet and studious. Now, these 2 girls are telling this story. We get 2 points of views, okay? 2 points of view. And first, Akofa goes and tells us her whole story about how, they were growing up together, but suddenly they started to grow apart, and Selassie didn't want much to do with her, even though Selassie moved in with them when her family was falling apart, doing what family does, or supposed to do, looking out for one another. But then Selassie started, disrespecting the mama and, just growing apart from her and didn't want to hang out with her, didn't want to talk to her. She's like, I don't even know who this girl is. It's supposed to be my daughter, supposed to be my cousin, supposed to be my girl. I'm your girl, you're my girl. I want you to know that I love you. Basically, is what Akofa was saying, okay? The beginning of this story, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to lie to you. It was going to the DNF pile. It was about to get the boot. The boot. Because I was bored out of my mind. I was bored. I wanted nothing more than to toss this book in the trash. I was like, I can't believe the woman who wrote His Only Wife has let me down in such a way, in such a fashion. What have we done? So Akofa's character, when she's after high school, she leaves and she goes to college in the US. And she's getting used to, a more racialized environment because at home, she just black, majority of the people around her in her continent, in her country, they're black. She comes to America and being black is something else. Suddenly you're other. And not only is she black, she's a woman, young girl, coming here, going to school, predominantly white, people questioning her, did you get here because of affirmative action? Oh, did you pass this test because the teacher felt sorry for you, or just because you're black so they had to push you through? No, bitch, I'm smart. I'm intelligent. I did the work. I studied. While you was down to the sorority party drinking beer with Chad. I was up here studying, doing my work. And then suddenly, like, y'all know how I'm not one for a very, very long book. Like, you know, move me along, but let's do it respectfully. Suddenly, my girl went from 21, 22 in college to all of a sudden she damn near 35. And she married and she got kids and like she about to go back home to visit her parents. And I'm like, where did the time go? What happened? We went from one chapter to the next and suddenly, like, what happened? What happened between this space? Like, we're missing some things here. Like, we went from here to there. We didn't even go here. We just went straight there. Way over there. So far over there, you can't even see what's over there, can you? You know you cannot. It's off camera. No, it's gone. It's not there. And I was lost. I was like, hold on, you taking me too fast. Like, I haven't even put my seatbelt on yet, and you already at 60 miles per hour. Let me close the door, girl. Let me close the door. And then we switch point of views, and we get in Selassie's side of the story. Once again, I don't know what it is about the beginning of each of the girls' story. It was dragging. I was like, hold on, we had picked up the pace and we had kind of like got into a good rhythm. And then you just went straight roller coaster on me. And then to a halt, it's like the pacing in this book, it was a slow creep. And then we got a nice flow. And then she hit the gas. And then slammed on the brakes. I'm talking about whiplash. But once Selassie's story finally started to pick up, that's when I was really in it. I was in it. I was like, okay, girl, you redeeming yourself. You have been redeemed in the eyes of the Lord. You have been redeemed. When Selassie started telling her side of the story about what went down up in the household with Akofa and her mama and her daddy and all them, it was like, I was like, oh. The drama really picked up, and I was in it to win it. That was by far the best part of the book, when we were getting Selassie's point of view of what happened in that house. With NightBloom, I'm really confused on how I feel about this book, because it was such a rocky experience. It was up, it was down, it was up, it was down. I was in it, I was out. I was just like, oh wow. Whereas the first book, His Only Wife, had a much better pacing. It flowed so well. So right now it's like at a 3.5. I would say 3.5. How Not to Drown in a Glass of Water. How Not to Drown in a Glass of Aqua. I have talked about this book quite a few times on this channel because I love it so much. I love this book so much. It is 191 pages of pure gold. 191 pages of greatness by Angie Cruz. I gave this book 5 stars. I read this book last year, and I will never stop talking about it. I will never stop recommending this book, and I highly recommend you listen to it in audio form. I know I say that about quite a few books, but this is top 5 audiobooks, like, of all time. Dare I say? Of all time. Like, I think so. I know so. And I've always said I want to go back and try to read like her other work or whatever. And I finally got a chance to do that. This book is about a 15-year-old girl named Anna who never dreamed of moving to America the way the girl she grew up with in the Dominican countryside did. But when Juan Ruiz proposes and promises to take her to New York City, she must say yes. This is a 15-year-old girl whose family makes her marry a 32-year-old man. 32-year-old man. And move to America so that she can get, like legitimized, become a United States citizen, and then send for them. And the story takes place in like 1964, 1965 is when this story takes place. 15 years old. Your family made you marry A 32-year-old man. What kind of shit is this? I am not finished with this book. I do need to say that. And the reason why I am speaking about it without being finished is because I don't know if I'm going to finish it. I loved How Not to Drown in a Glass of Water. But Dominicana is not. And I think it's partially I just wasn't in the mood for it. Partially it's just not working for me. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna hold off because this could possibly be a really great read for me. And I don't want to like not get the chance to enjoy this book simply because like I'm not in the mood for it. But what I will say is that at first it took me forever to get past the first 2 chapters. But then when I got into it, I was like, oh, okay, I feel like it's going somewhere. But then my interest started to wane a bit. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna come back around to this. But what I can say is that having your family call you and tell you they need toothpaste, they need this, they need that, send money, make sure he's doing this, make sure he's doing that, when are we gonna get to come over? And you are only 15 years old and they made you marry a 32-year-old man and you basically have the weight of the world on your shoulders. It's insane. It's insane. The Violin Conspiracy. I've talked about this book quite a bit on this channel because I love it so much. I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 5 stars when I read it last year. And talking about this book, coming back around to it as many times as I've talked about how I've seen people give like critiques on this book and some of the things that they did not like and how I could agree. Like looking at it from their point of view, I can see how like the mother character was portrayed, the way the author described the love interest at times. Like I can see people's critiques and why they felt that way, and those critiques are valid. Outside of that, I did really enjoy this book, and so of course I wanted to read his second book. I feel like I'm cooking. Ooh, I'm getting cooked under the lights. My God. Where was I? The Symphony of Secrets. I feel like he redeemed himself with those characters from Violin Conspiracy because the main female character in this novel, she's clearly the star. She's the star of this book. I've said it. And I gave this book like 4.5 stars. I feel like I did. It's an amazing read. So this one I feel is on like more of the same level. It's harder to do a this or a that between these two because the playing field is more even. There's a bit more level between these two. But I still feel like I want to go Violin Conspiracy. Is it this or is it that? Is it this or is it that? Is it this? Is it that? I'm gonna feel like I'm gonna go with the Violin Conspiracy. I really feel like it's because that was my first time around with the author, and it's something about the first time. Wrong place, wrong time. I think I just got through talking about this book in my last video. This book is about a woman who witnesses her son committing a crime. He gets arrested for it. Now that he's in jail, she can't get him out, so she has to go home and just like wait to figure out what to do. She wakes up the next day and realizes she's back, like it's the previous day, and she continues to do that, go back in time a day every day she wakes up until she figures out what happens to her son and like what happened, like what led him to do this, like why he out here stabbing people. Just Another, what is this? Just Another Missing Person is her latest book, and because I like that book so much, of course I had to pick this one up. This is about, what is it about? Olivia is 22 years old, no history of running away, last seen on CCTV, entering a dead-end alley, not coming out again, missing for 1 day and counting. And then we have Julia. She's a detective that's heading up this case, and she has to figure out what the hell happened to Olivia, where she at, how she went in that alley, dead end. But we don't, on the camera, we don't see her come out of that alley. There's only one way in, one way out, but she didn't come out. So Julia got to figure out what's really going on with her. But Julia also has a secret that she's trying to keep under wraps. So she's trying to protect her family, keep her secret, while also solving this missing person case. Okay, I'm gonna tell you right now, this or that, it ain't this. It's definitely that. It's definitely wrong place, wrong time. This was not a bad book. It just never seemed to to find its ground, to find its footing. It's like, you know how you see a person fall and they fall for like 12 hours? It's like, please hit the ground. Please, please hit the ground already. It's like you tripping and dipping and fumbling and bumbling, and like, just hit the ground already, please. That's what it felt like this book was doing. It was like it kept trying to save itself, but it was tripping over its own feet and shoelaces and long skirt and sweatpants, and it wouldn't get up or it wouldn't fall. It's like, do one or the other. And it's kind of like NightBloom is to where it was up and down for me, up and down. I just like, I don't know. It really, and I was just like, I'm supposed to like this. I felt like it's kind of like, that's how I feel about Dominicana as well. It's like, I feel like I'm supposed to like this. This is right up my alley. This is supposed to be written for me. I'm supposed to enjoy this to the fullest. But for some reason, I'm not. Like, it's just not. It ain't doing what it's supposed to do. Vanishing Half and the Mothers. I read the Vanishing Half, what, 2022? 2021? I don't remember. When did I read this book? 2021 or 2022? I can't remember. 5 stars. 5 stars. Like, it was amazing. It was amazing. Like, I remember sitting in my bed and flipping through these pages, and I was just like in awe. Like, I love this book so much, and like, I'm still waiting on that TV adaptation. Like, god dang. And then I read The Mothers late last year, I want to say mid, I don't know. I knew it was some point in 2022. I don't know when I read it, but I know I read it. And I talked about how this book, it was like a drink that you drink. Oh, this is sweet. This ain't gonna do nothing to me. I can knock back 3 of these, and then all of a sudden you in the middle of the club spinning around on your head because them drinks is getting your ass. That's what The Mothers did for me. I was reading it and I was like, okay, I'm interested. It's doing something. I don't know exactly what. But then at the end, when I actually started talking about it and telling people like, oh, I read this book and it was this, da 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 da, and the more I talked about it, the more I was like, oh, I really enjoyed it. Like, oh, I see what was happening there. I see what was it was like one of those. And I love reading experiences like that, where afterwards, out of nowhere, where I'm washing dishes or I'm sweeping my floor or something, and all of a sudden I'm like, that's what they meant. That's what they meant. Like, I think that's what reading is all about. That's what reading is about. Those late nights, out of nowhere, midday, kicking the head realizations. On page 237, that's what they was trying to tell your ass. That's what I love about reading. That's what I love about writing. That's what I love about literature. I was gonna do Razorblade Tears and All the Sinners Bleed, but this is his latest book, which I loved as well. But the proper comparison is Razorblade Tears and Blacktop Wasteland, because this is actually the second book I read by him, and this was the first. I love this book so much. This is like probably my favorite thriller. This thrilled and chilled me. This had me on the edge of my seat. I was picturing everything in my head so vividly. And then I read Blacktop Wasteland, and while it did not do for me what Razorblade Tears did for me, I still enjoyed this book. I think I gave it like 3.5 stars at the end, and I think it was still like, you can definitely see the greatness. Like, you can feel the S.A. Cosby greatness. And because he wrote this one, before he wrote that, it was like he was ramping his way up to this magnificent masterpiece. Okay. And I can do that for so many other books that I have on my shelf. Like, I have a lot of repeat authors. Like, I'm like, that's what it's about. I need writers to write and do it repeatedly. And that's a wrap for your boy. That's a wrap for me. That's all I got for you in this video. Leave a comment down below. Let me know which one you prefer. Like I said, give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Even if you didn't enjoy it, just give me a thumbs up, okay? Help a brother out. Subscribe if you are not subscribed. You're gonna wanna stick around. I'll see you in my next one. Thank you for watching.